There is a specific type of person in your life. They always seem fine. When you ask, "How are you?" they say, "Good." When something is clearly wrong, they say, "I'm okay." When everyone else is falling apart, they're the one holding it together. And here's the thing nobody tells you. That person, they're not strong. They're surviving. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why they went silent. And it started way before you ever met them. Stay with me, because there is a twist in this story that most people completely miss. We've been told our whole lives talking about your problems is healthy. Open up, be vulnerable, share your feelings. And sure, that is true. But here's what nobody asks. What happens to the people for whom vulnerability never worked? What about the person who tried to open up and got shut down? Who told someone they were hurting and got told they were too sensitive? Who cried and was told to stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about? For these people, silence was not a choice, it was a survival strategy. And that strategy, learned in childhood, is still running in the background of their adult life like a program they never installed and cannot figure out how to uninstall. Private suffering sounds noble. Our culture rewards it. The person who handles everything without burdening anyone, who processes grief alone, who never makes their pain someone else's problem. We call these people strong, independent, or low maintenance. But what is the actual cost? People who go silent when they're hurt often learn to do so as a way to protect themselves from further pain. Emotional neglect or unpredictable caregiving in childhood can lead to avoidant patterns in adulthood, where expressing vulnerability feels unsafe. Here's what that looked like in childhood. A kid cries, a parent gets frustrated. A kid says, "I'm scared." A parent says, "Don't be silly." A kid says, "I'm hurting," and the room gets cold. The child doesn't need this to happen 100 times. A handful is enough. The math becomes simple very quickly. If I show what I feel, something bad happens. If I stay quiet, at least nothing gets worse. That is not passive aggression, that is pattern recognition. And it follows them into adulthood, silently, invisibly, in ways they don't even consciously understand. Now here's where it gets really interesting. These people, the silent ones, they don't just keep their problems to themselves. Over time, they actually forget how to feel their own pain. Not numb, not depressed necessarily, just disconnected from their own inner life. Silence has serious effects. First, emotional buildup. Everything you don't say stays inside, and at some point it explodes. It can lead to outbursts of anger, insomnia, or anxiety. There's also a loss of identity. If you're always silent, you give up who you are. But it goes even deeper than that. When you suppress emotions repeatedly, your brain starts to lose the ability to name what you're feeling. Psychologists call this Alexithymia, difficulty identifying and describing your own emotions. You don't feel sad, you feel tired. You don't feel hurt, you feel irritated. You don't feel lonely, you feel fine. Just fine. And this is the cruel irony of the silent person. They mastered hiding their pain from others, and eventually they hid it from themselves. When a person doesn't express themselves, they can become detached from their own needs. Over time, the beloved friend or partner becomes a stranger you see regularly, but who doesn't really know you. And you too may become numbed out and detached from knowing your deeper self. They're not mysterious, they're not cold. They're someone whose inner world was never treated as safe, so they locked the door and eventually lost the key. Not every silent person is silent for the same reason. See which one you recognize. Type 1, the protector. I don't want to be a burden. They carry everything alone because they genuinely believe their pain will hurt the people they love. Type 2, the burned one. I tried opening up once, never again. They opened up and got dismissed or judged. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable can be a difficult thing when you fear the other person could use your problems against you. Type 3, the parentified child. I was always the strong one. This child had to take care of parents with emotional problems. Instead of receiving care, they gave it. Now as an adult, they still don't know how to receive. Type 4, the culture conditioned. Where I'm from, you just don't talk about that. Silence was taught by gender norms or generational expectations, not chosen. Remember the twist I mentioned earlier? I told you these people forget how to feel their own pain. People who suffer privately often report feeling fundamentally unknowable, even in their closest relationships. There's a persistent sense that the version of them that loves is the curated version, the one with the pain edited out. They are not keeping secrets from you. They are keeping secrets from themselves. The silence became so automatic, so protective, that it runs before conscious thought. Something happens, pain registers, and before they can even think about telling someone, the old program activates. Don't. It's not worth it. You'll be fine. They do not choose silence. Silence chooses for them. So if you are this person, or you love this person, what do you actually do? For the silent person, understand this is not weakness. This is an old protectant system that served you when you needed it. You do not need to burn it down. You need to update it. Start here. Instead of asking, should I tell someone this? Ask, what am I actually feeling right now? Relearning to name your own emotions is the first step. Journaling isn't just fluff. Writing your feelings activates the same neural pathways as speaking them, without the vulnerability risk. For people who love a silent person, don't say, you can talk to me. They know that. They just cannot yet. Instead, create safety over time, not one big invitation, 100 small moments where you do not react badly, where you just stay. Safety is not a conversation, it is a track record. Here is what I want you to remember. The quietest people in the room are rarely the ones with nothing to say. They're the ones who learned, early, deeply, painfully, that saying it out loud only made things worse. They became experts at surviving. What they never learned was living, and that is not their fault. If you saw yourself in this video, you are not broken. You learned to survive in a world that did not always feel safe. That is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to understand. Because awareness, real awareness, is always the first door. And once you see the door, you can choose whether to open it. Drop a comment below, "This is me," or "I know someone like this." You will be surprised how many people feel exactly the same. Subscribe if this hits something. I will see you in the next one.